Good evening. The mic is a little bit loud. But we got Space Echo. You are tuned to Hypernatural. Straight out of Berlin. To a night about creativity and spirituality. And we don't mean religion. Good times. Friends together.
Suzerain had a little land. His feet was white as snow. And everywhere Suzerain went, the man wanted to go. To a land of fantasy. Wanted to be alone. When she called his name, all he did was moan. Ladies and gentlemen, Suzerain, the overseer. Sharing the moonlight. How romantic.
You and me.
Fantasy. I like that. Suzerain, come here. Sing in my ear. Fantasy. Let it be a dream.
Let's come together in our minds. Let's run away, lost in time. Unspoken legends is the way, the only path to our fantasy.
Oh yeah, Sharon on the mic. Through to his saxophone from his lungs. Oh yeah. Hypernatural. Good evening from Berlin. It is still sunny. Those rays definitely come from our hearts too.
know this is funky people, y'all, but y'all can't hear me, but I can see you. Get educated about marijuana, y'all.
Oh yeah, Sharon. Oh yeah. You know, I have to say, with that song, I have such a memory of when I first met Tyree, and he was like, "Oh, I bet you know my Turn Up the Bass," and I was like, not really. It was actually this song. So we had quite a lot of funny conversations about Dance Mania and that release, and I'm very happy that he reissued it. So you can still get it in the shops. Exactly. So I just wanted to come to a certain moment in music. And from this lovely album, there's some lovely text inside what I want to read from. On a distant planet, in the Jackin Zone, Fingers Inc. have been displaying another side of house music before anybody knew there was one. Far and free from the defects that have conspired in vain to weaken house music's exploding popularity, music thieving, unimaginative productions, hokey singing and dirty dealing. Fingers Inc. have filtered their dreams and experiences through bittersweet blends of hypnotic electronics and oozing emotional singing to become one of the scene's most popular and respected acts. Good evening, we're Hypernatural, and that is Fingers Inc. Welcome, Robert Owens. So I love that. Just reading that, it brings back memories. So, my God. The photos in here are also got some stories behind, right? My God, we're going back. What is this? This is from 83, 84, 85 period, right? Wow, I'm so happy. I'm going to play one song, and then we're going to get into like discussing and introducing everybody straight in. So this is one of those tracks from that special moment. The Path.
You'll wake up and find yourself in a dream, overcome by fiction. You're laced in fantasy. You go out searching. You're trying to find a dream. Deep inside emotion gives company to believe. But surely as you perceive a dream, reality it can be. For one day you'll wake up, fiction becomes fantasy, and fantasy becomes reality, and you are not in a dream. Fiction to reality, a path we all must take. But if we stop and lose our way, fiction will stay. A path we all must take, all so narrow is both the ways. But a path we must take, you've got to go up or down. Hey baby, there's no other way around. Fulfill that dream, make it reality. to take it, yeah. You got to take it, yeah. It might get a little rough sometimes. It might get a little rough sometimes. It might get a little rough sometimes. Oh, pow, 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 pow. Take it.
That's got some history behind it, right?
I haven't heard it in years.
You crazy? I had some funny moments with Tyree Cooper. When we were doing the Jack the Box parties at the Kleiner Riser, we used to always have like fun, especially warming up for ourselves. So it was like, okay, what we're gonna play today? And he's like, I'm gonna take you back. And we just played all this certain period of tracks he was listening to and going bugging out to. So he was always educating me on this history of 83 to about 88 Chicago. Farley, man, I think I have a lot of respect.
Great tracks came out in that period.
Oh yeah. So how many songs have you published?
God, it's
I thought this is a difficult one. We will go with this one first.
it's up. The numbers are up there. Because I've done a lot of feature work on other people's albums. I've had different retrospects that have come out. I have a acapella series that's come out on Loopmaster where individuals can just sample and create their own tracks. So well over 1,000 or more tracks are somewhere floating.
There you go. There you go. It's quite true. Wow, wow, wow. So, who have we got with us today? Who have we got with us today? I think it's quite interesting selection. So you've already been introduced to Sharon before. He's joined us again on saxophone tonight, so we're very happy to have him gracing with his lungs. There we go, man. Yeah, Sharon. We have Arie also representing quite an interesting new game coming out in the market soon. Deep, that's true. Susie Ross. Yeah, man, Atter's here with us in the house. Suzerain. And we've got then Matt from the Music Tech Deutschland. He is the man with the whole connection. Is that loud enough, Danny? Yeah. I think, yes, there we go. We'll just keep it warm then. Yeah, so Matt's representing Music Tech Deutschland. He's here tonight. We've already, yes, it is the Love Supreme bass line. There we go. We're gonna do some little sample moments. Sharon, 1 point. We have Robert Owens gracing us. I'm very, very happy about this. It's been some time. Very happy with this. So I found some nice selection of Robert's work to showcase as well tonight. We have Eleonora rejoining us. Very happy you're here as well. We have Madllyn Stranger here with the loop machine and vocals, right? Yeah. So what is everybody thinking about tonight?
I am personally, my first compliment of the night goes for the Dudes Factory not giving a fuck since 2010. It's my highlight of the night.
Yeah?
Anything to say about it? The Dudes Factory. What's it?
Dudes Factory. Oh, well, they do nice merchandise, and I like what they do. They do some funny stuff.
Yes, amazing.
But yeah, there's a little bit of the Dudes Factory. We're trying to get more feminine touch into our world at Hypernatural. We are doing it, don't worry, we're there. Yeah, so we're going to pass this mic around a little bit. We're going to talk about what is the spark of creativity. Is this something you deeply think about? Is this something what comes natural? Is this something what you have to push? Do you sometimes get charged by ideas which then give you the answer, or at least present you the question? Madllyn, when you, what is your first spark of the day? What makes you get creative?
It's a surprise. I never know before. I think the only circumstance that I know creativity, I can only invite creativity for me.
Right.
I can invite in giving the circumstances, and the circumstances are basically being relaxed, having time, no pressure, and yeah. What is the word inspiration? It's like it's
true.
breathing. It's something like getting inside of you. So just being open to everything.
That's good. That's good. That's quite true. Do we have another microphone, Danny?
I can give this around.
I think we got another mic we can try out. Come on, let's get this other mic going. Otherwise, we don't want to have early night cable problems. So, Eleonora, the sun is shining today. What does that mean to you?
The sun is shining today. Wow, for me is my natural state, you know. For someone that comes from where I come, the winter can be tricky, really.
Is the Berlin winter tricky for you?
Ay. The North Europe winter can be wow. It can be a master, because we have a second topic. You're gonna break it down for us later, but masters is part of that topic for me. Like the masters, right? That for me, masters are all around, and the sun is one of those big masters. For my ancestors, American indigenous peoples, the sun used to be God, the top of divinity, and it makes so much sense, you know. Sun was the source of life and of food, so that makes a lot of sense.
That's quite true.
So yeah, Berlin is back alive. Everyone is going crazy on the streets.
Yeah.
Just because the sun is outside. That's so beautiful, yeah.
We're getting close to that 1st of May atmosphere in Berlin.
Aha!
What is everybody's 1st of May experience in Berlin?
Actually, this year I'm thinking about having like a barbecue in my building, you know, and like a jam.
Sharon is the word is yours, Sharon.
Sorry to no, but it's his turn right now.
No, it's not turn. Come on.
Okay, cool. Anyway, wow, it's loud. Yeah. Okay, cool. So like 1st of May, Berlin. I'm actually living inside of it. I live really like in the back street of Oranian, like Oranian Adalbert. Yeah.
Wow.
That's like offline, you know. Anyway, but there is like a possibility for a barbecue and a jam, you know, in my building, because all of these years, you know, I was going out. 1st of May, I used to like till today, you know, to wake up to sound checks of like reggae and heavy metal. 2 stages, like 2 completely different, you know, like stages, like 10 meters from each other. It was the Yam stage and Trink Teufel stage, like Adalbertstrasse, you know.
You mean
like,
these stages don't exist anymore? Don't happen anymore? Or?
Unfortunately, yeah, this is exactly what I have to say about 1st of May. Like it used to be like 28 different stages, you know, around here. And they reduced it like to something, I don't know, you can count it, maybe less than 10, around 10, you know.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, it used to be like a very, you know, like chaotic day.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I mean, it's a nice party, but it's more like, it went like commercial anyway.
You
But
think
this,
so?
I know so, unfortunately. Yeah, but I keep it.
But it's
I
still
keep it
chaos.
cool.
It's just chaos number 2, and the other one was chaos 10 or something. But it's still definitely a bit chaotic.
And now you're playing Record them, Joe Henderson, page 1. Now you nice one. It's still.
You got it all.
Woo.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Wow, nice one, man.
Second point for Sharon.
Anyway, no, sorry. It's still chaotic, but it's. I can join you on the horn, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby. Here we go.
But yeah, it's not. You see a lot of people in this day, you know, trying to sell stuff and make money. It was not the point, you know. It used to be just like, you know, like a demo and a street party, and that's it. Anyway, like 1st of May, yeah. Maybe we're gonna grill in my building, let's see, and make a small jam.
Aha,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Any other experience for 1st May around?
For me, it's like a free fall of parties all over the place. I live in the Kreuzberg area, and I mean, you can't even hardly budge, walking around from the Galitzer
Yeah.
Park all the way over to Club Division there. All in that area is just rammed, and
I live in
I think
Kotti.
I'm playing this year again. But probably
Well?
the past 3 years I've played.
Well,
And it's been amazing, just the vibe, or seeing all of the people out like that. I think that's one of the most incredible things going on here in Berlin.
yeah.
Were you actually here when there were fights going on the street on Iranian streets?
No,
Oh, you missed
haven't
those
caught
moments,
the
yeah?
fights. I've been fortunate enough to just come fly in off of another day from another country, straight to the gig, and then back home to recover. So I
Yeah,
haven't-
it's quite crazy.
So that's probably where the chaotic viewpoint comes in, but I haven't caught any of that. So
It's
far.
funny that there was a moment that they started doing free parties inside the Edelweiss in the Görlitzer Park. I was happy to be involved with one of them, and we
Yeah.
had about 10,000 people at the end of the event. There was no fighting on the street on Iranian Street anymore, just because we went on longer.
Now they control it. You cannot go into the park. Like Edelweiss is gone.
Yeah,
Like,
it's quite true. Things have changed.
They closed
They
it.
have a glow-in-the-dark crazy golf place. That's what they
What?
have now
Yeah.
next to
What?
Edelweiss. The old club room is doing glow-in-the-dark crazy golf. I believe
Wow.
that's what I remember last time I
Anyway.
saw. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy is part of the name of the place?
Edelweiss. It's actually it's a flower.
Edelweiss.
No, like the crazy golf, like
Yeah.
the crazy word is part of the official name of this? That's so
Well, it's yeah, it glows in the dark.
Basically,
It's
they-
crazy.
Edelweiss
Yeah.
used to be till, I think they closed last year, and they were one of the most popular jams in the city. And also
Yeah.
one of the less orthodox, because
But actually, like yesterday, yeah, you're right. Yesterday was the first.
somewhere else, yeah.
Yeah, yesterday was the first one since they closed. It happened in July.
You mean the first one, like somewhere else in all those spots?
Yeah. Right now, last night was the first night since they closed in July, and yeah, it's like not in a
New spot, yeah.
in like Friedrichshain, a place called Nirgendwo. Yeah, they moved there, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, anyway.
Would you just suggest the 1st of May is a spiritual event?
This year I say like forget about it. 1st of May is in my building, man. Like forget all of this like
Now we
man,
know.
like, all of
It's
this
your fault, man.
touristical shit, you know. Sorry about my language, but I mean that's it. I was last year and last year it was like that's it for me. I went out and I'm like all I'm seeing is like people trying to sell food and like some I don't know.
Capienera, like all
drunk,
the sort of
weekend
capiroshkas
tourists,
and so on.
It used to be Molotov cocktails. I mean, like,
Those old times.
yeah.
I mean, I saw some fights when the demo reached the around the gully, but not in the park, like in the street where the Schwimmbad is, the
Yeah.
pool.
Yeah.
There was some crap going on for sure. So violence happened. Is that what you wanted to know? Yeah, last year was some of that.
No, God forbid. I'm not, promoting it. I mean, maybe a little bit. I don't know.
No,
just kidding.
it was
Just kidding.
organic.
No, yeah, promoted by a veggie barbecue. You know what? For the vegetarian viewers.
So I can't bring my cow and a rabbit, no? I was going to bring my mint sauce, man. I was going to go, hey, I'll bring some mint sauce
You can be
and a
like,
rabbit.
you can bring your tofu cow.
Tofu
Like
cow.
soya.
Is it designer tofu cow or is he green?
A designer. Yeah.
All right, man. He's going to come in a bag.
Okay, got it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I had to bring up some of the songs from Robert Owens. So this one got me.
obligation. Every waking moment to recall what cries in my heart reach the surface, bringing evaluations of patience in my heart. Where you left the mark, and I ask myself, well, why did I another? Did I sacrifice? And the sacrifice under the sacrifice. Today don't see me forgetting me. Today don't see me forgetting me. For a sacrifice, for a sacrifice, for a sacrifice.
Robert, how is it for you when you started traveling a lot and living in different locations internationally? How did your creativity change?
No, I think because I've always had an emotion of feeling good about seeing other people happy. So I mean, from the beginning, I think it's been a purpose behind, the whole energy to want to entertain people. So it's just like a natural progression. Even you were speaking earlier about the creativity and stuff. I think I look at myself as a fountain. It's constantly pouring and flowing, and you just naturally want to give. You want others
Is it one
to
of those?
drink.
Is it a fondue or is it like a chocolate fountain? Because there's a lot of chunks coming out constantly.
Natural
Gold
water.
nuggets,
Connected
man.
to sound
Natural
frequency.
water. The human anatomy is made up of a good percentage of water.
Wow.
That's a good thing.
quite
to flow
true.
from. Yeah.
When's your favorite time of the day to write lyrics?
It's natural. I mean, I could just naturally create something and write something right on the spot. I've walked into sessions where I might have had a plan and actually wrote a story for a particular project, and then got there and the producer said, well, I'm not really feeling that vibe. So on the spot, I had to rewrite something instantly. And so I was like, okay, give me 15, and let me just think about this a minute, and then just wrote something. He's like, okay, that's cool. So I'm always prepared to switch, even, because when you're working with others, you have to come into the situation as I'm coming into this to be a part of the team, and then from that perspective, you're always ready to rethink something, because it's about the unification of the situation and everybody coming to a final agreement of being happy, and if you're thinking like that, you end up pulling the best out of each other. It's about
Is it
putting
always
all
like
all
that?
about
It's all about
Is it always
harmonization
like-
of the team work.
Say that
It's
again?
about harmonization of the collaborative
harmony and
spirit.
you have to make people feel relaxed, no matter how old or young an individual might be, or how long they've been involved in the industry. I treat people with the same level of respect that I want to come back to me. And when you come into situations like that, you just naturally, I think, make people feel comfortable. And then from another perspective, I've been around a lot of ego kind of
course,
up there and made it. It's not even worth names,
in this
but I've
business.
seen, the two different angles, and it's about doing the reverse of the way some people might have treated you. Also, you can't take things to heart.
It's hard,
Yeah, you have to, even if you get emotional or upset over things, I think it's best to, absorb in that emotion for a minute and then let it go and push forward and give what you feel to be correct, or the way you want to be perceived in this industry.
So it's like about emotional resistance, like it's a bit like being over that in a way.
Yeah, if you
In a way, or don't let it
Don't let it
don't let it touch you in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. It's a resilience. Maybe it's the word, like endurance, emotional endurance. But wow.
Interesting.
Well, it's a viewpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is a viewpoint, and you listen to different viewpoints, and you just take from that particular situation something that might relate to your situation, that could help you along your journey.
Amazing. Wow. Some deep words. So if you talk about this, like we mentioned also when we talked before about this fountain of this creativity. This is something that if you use this metaphor about
if you for me looking at it from that viewpoint, I'm not afraid of losing something.
Right.
A lot of people they don't look at scenarios or situations from a longevity viewpoint. If you're looking at it from that perspective, you're not afraid to lose something.
Right.
You know, I'm not caught up on someone ripping me off or taking something from me because I got constant flow of something to give, and it's about me giving it back to humanity. So how can I be afraid or fearful of that? No matter how well I live my life, one day I'm going to die. It's about what I left behind for humanity that's most important. And if you look at things, well, at least for me, that's the way I look at my situation that I've been gifted with and blessed with.
This is really blessing. This is really, in a way, sharing the blessing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about like
hoarding it. Even if you become filthy rich, even if you could go out there and get hit by a car, and then somebody's gonna be left behind fighting over your money.
Yeah. You said it. Even if they get filthy rich, it's not gonna be on your account. Maybe this is what you're saying.
Even you get that. No, I'm saying that you could go out there and get hit by a car, or anything.
Yeah.
And then you've just got a bunch of money in a bank that somebody's
That's
fighting over.
This has no value. Right.
But you know, material-wise, emotional-wise, what did you leave behind for people to pass on to future generations that someone can apply to their life now to maybe help them through a difficult mental state of mind or thought? What have you left behind musically? You know,
it's all about
as
that.
a musician or artist.
This is the higher calling of the artist, in a way.
Well, again, a perspective, one individual viewpoint.
Yes. Okay. It's one perspective of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does everybody else feel about those moments of, let's say, moments of brilliance? How they come around? Matt, with your vision on what is new coming out in technology, what is supporting artists, what do you look at and go, and what type of things surprise you?
The resistance from the old industry. That's what really surprises
the machine.
me. Yeah, like that's really something that I still don't understand why they're so resistant. Like I know why, but that's kind of the bummer on this whole music business thing.
Do you think it's the money?
Oh no, it's not the money.
Are they just lazy?
No, it is the money. It's like the business model that's like, you know, there's like a whole bunch of things that are really annoying to me when it comes to these discussions about like artists and music industry, and I don't like that the communication from the industry always comes the way like, hey, we just care for our artists and that's why we're doing all these things. But that's not the case. So technology-wise, I don't know, I couldn't tell one particular technology. I think there's lots of stuff out there, and with all the stuff that happened over the last 100 years, it was always like, and it's happening right now again, it's always technology that like kind of like opens up new horizons at the one side, but then at the other side, it's also like it kind of changes the way how music is produced, how music is consumed, how music is distributed, how it opens up the space for creativity. Like lots of tools. Like if we wouldn't have, like even in the Stone Age, I think the first instrument was like a flute that they found in southern Germany. It's like 40,000 years old. So even these people already wanted to enhance their creativity and won't just like clap on stones and so they wanted to build something to
get the rhythm.
Creative. Fuck, that's the first thing. So and over the time we're now at a point where we don't have to like use something to build a flute out of a bone from a bird. We have like all this access to like these way more tools, so we can build more stuff and then give it to creative artists to do cool stuff with it. And so I think there's millions of stuff out there, and we don't know where it goes to.
Yeah, it's quite true.
I think I can kind of like combine those topics because when you said like you have the money side, that is a big problem for some artists that they're facing with their struggles to get their creativity out there. But I think it also ties to the fountain of creativity that was mentioned, because I think art anywhere in any industry has that struggle of there is that financial system that you need to be a part of. There's no escaping it. But money is a means to an end, and that end like ties in to the fountain of creativity, I think, that was talked about here, because we're all influenced by the information and the people we know, and there are these certain things that spark our passions in life, and we want to follow those passions and actually share them with everybody else, right? So it's this culture of sharing, and whenever we talk about money, the money should support you so you can share more, right? But there are so many artists out there, be it in any industry, be it painters, be it sculptors, be it movie directors. They're, in the struggle, I want to make art, but there's this whole system out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think definitely with the digital revolution, there's been loads of new potential errors in what people have done as business models. And creativity seems to have been, in one way, released to more people, but at the same time it's opened up so many other let's say Pandora's boxes without any real control thought about. And I think that, for me personally, scared me when the MP3 come about. But out of the MP3, I actually listened to so much cool recorded live music. Not so much like let's take and rip the whole back catalogue of the Beatles. I was not interested in that, but finding DJ mixes. So my love for that got more intense through a product which probably has caused so much hell for let's say for the recoupance of money to artists. But we have to all adjust and grow, right?
But this is the point. Like, creativity is not only with artists. That's like the word creativity is really hard to capture. Like a software developer is also creative. A guy who builds a business model has made up his mind about how he does certain things. So I think creativity is something that's in all of us. Even though if you're like an artist, or if you're like I don't know, every job or every human being has creativity in them. They just express it in different ways. And musicians do it through music, which is cool, because music also can be an accelerator for other people to be creative in another area. So a painter who listens to music might get inspired by the music he listens to. So music is basically can be a foundation for triggers of other people's creativity. So music is actually a really cool example for creativity. But there's every one of us is creative.
Also, when you are an art person. But I just want to say that it can be the other way around, because I can also look at a painting and then I get inspired by it and I write something. Yeah. Just Hieronymus Bosch is inspiring me so much, and I thought about it. It hangs on my toilet, and actually every day when I sit on the toilet, I watched it and I discover so many things, and it's a good...
The garden? Nice.
Yeah, the garden, and I, since 4 years I'm always discovering something new, and it gives me inspiration, it's beautiful.
And just wanted to mention that the digitalization is a good topic, because when you talked about MP3s, I think it's across a lot of technology. We went from physical to digital, and I was one of those who kind of was in it. I used cassettes and CDs when I was a kid, and then the transformation to digital. Actually, it unleashed these sources of art or other information to spread in any industry that I know, and I think it changed a lot of things. And in my opinion, to the positive. But there are, of course, some lost values in the digitalization of all the platforms we know, movies, music, or anything. Yeah.
And I think that's why the digitalization requires more collaboration, because you can't expect from an artist that he knows all the shit, that all the opportunity that is out there for making money and stuff like that. And why we have this misunderstanding from the music side to the technology side, because a lot of people are talking about all the tech people are piggybacking on the work of creatives and making money out of that, and so on and so on. So I think if all these like that's why I'm doing this whole music tech thing, is that I think if the tech people sit together with the music people and with the business people, and we all can build something together, then it will benefit each other.
It's also like, I want to add to that, everybody's dependent on each other in a way, because if you're a music tech business, you have no business without
the people using it.
The musicians.
Yeah, right, true.
Right.
So
You have to have a plan, you have to have a plan, a structure, and the right team of people working within your company or within the business plan and structure that you're creating, and then everything should flow forward positively. You know, that's what the internal part that I was talking about is the fountain and stuff. That's almost personal giving, but outside of that, I have a team of people around me that's making sure that every area is covered and things are being collected, and this is where the capital comes in, you know, for you to continue creating your own unique journey outside of the restraints of what's going on in the industry, because there's a lot of craftiness, thieves, and all of that, every different facet of creativity, from artists, movies, music, everything. But if you got an internal team, you have a flowing, consistent structure that's moving and going, and then you have room to give the other side from where I was talking about coming from. So it's important to have that structured team around what you're doing too.
I love when they call this, what you were talking about, you are an artist, but an artist will never be an artist who communicates successfully if it wasn't for the team that is supporting. And I love when you call this ecosystem. It's a word, for example, in Berlin you hear it a lot, because it's this vibrant scene of people coming up with their ideas and being brave enough to go for them, even though they don't have a corporation behind backing them up, you know. So this word ecosystem, when it comes to startups and new, collectives raising and doing their own shit, is for me a beautiful way to put it. It's just perfect. Ecosystem. Everyone is part of it equally, and it's organic.
yeah, and we need more ecosystems and less ecosystems. That's what we need.
Woo! Give it up! Give it up!
I don't know.
There was a Hypernatural slogan. Just want to say, please. Sorry.
Hypernatural. I just want to say, like, for me, like, there are actually two different things. So we speak about music industry and capitalism, and the other thing is like a personal thing of spirituality and creativity. But I just want to point out that it's kind of weird, because creativity in one way is actually the motor, the engine of capitalism. And actually everything what you said about this little ecosystems, it's actually grassroots that all grow and grow and grow, and then they influence, and then is actually the basis of everything what is corporate and branding and everything. So actually it's at one hand it's really pervert actually how the capitalism uses the creativity and the inspiration. In one hand it's like, yeah, for me it's always a kind of paradox that, yeah, I don't know, and I'm not a 100% professional artist, so I always have this kind of outside view, and I never know if I want to be a professional musician. So you know,
these days you don't have to be stifled by what's going on in the industry with the access of internet. If you, again, going back to the whole emphasis of team, if you get a collective of people around you, a team of people, and you all believe in each other and you're all supporting each other on a balanced, equal level, you can do something constructive in this world today without even being damaged or worried about what's going on by the bigger companies and stuff.
Yeah, you can be totally independent. Like you could be an independent unit in the capitalism
but again,
system.
it's just got to be a group, a collective of people that all believe and support each other, are not envious or jealous of each other. You know,
It's actually
That's not easy to find.
it's not easy to find.
we're putting it out there. So
Yeah.
maybe something-
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I
Just
also
giving the
wanted to.
inspiration. They have to implement it. Yeah.
Exactly, but I wanted to add it because I know you want to say something, but I wanted to add something up to all this thing. Like, it's actually silly to try again and imitate them. To try again and repeat the same old models. Like, why should you even want to do that? yes, you can think, okay, it's like a safe formula, let me just copy paste it, something's gonna come out fine. But it's maybe one of the best times to be more risky about things. Like copying that model again might not be really the most innovative thing you can do, and also not the safest path to walk. That's also something.
Completely agree, because like you feel like anything that has passion in it. We listened to some of your songs like today, and like I already felt that you're trying to bring a message out there, right? And
loud and clear.
Yeah. And I think like it's the same with like all the other things where we just bring out something within us, and then other people, they have that connection to it, they kind of see it. And when it comes to ecosystems, I have to say, working in the video game industry, it's such an amazing thing to see, the technical aspect, the programming, and the art aspect, drawing and 3D modeling, and also the music come together. You have these like cross-discipline work structure, everybody coming together and creating, these entertainment products. And I think it speaks to, as you said, it's a very powerful moment where you can get to experience a bit of every, these creative industries. Yeah, and I think it's very powerful.
True. That's absolutely true. But I think
this was another Hypernatural speech.
I think when like different areas collide with each other and people, like that's when the whole beauty and the whole magic comes out. It's like if everyone is in the same bubble, everybody gets like the same inspirations or comes from the same space, so then nothing changes. So it's like a routine that stays there. But once you like go out of your comfort zone and meet with people that you usually wouldn't meet, and you listen to them and you absorb what they're saying, I think then this can trigger parts in your head that then like makes you creative again. So you might get inspiration from areas that you wouldn't expect to get input for your work that you do. And so I think that's the most important part, is like not meeting only the same people.
Basically, getting out of the comfort zone is something very blessing.
It's a tough one, but once you're through it, then it's amazing, because then magical things happen.
Exactly.
I don't know, but I would dare to suggest that is spirituality on itself. Because once you mention the word spirituality, some people, religion. But spirituality is like the way it translates in your action to live in harmony with everything and everyone. So ecosystem is spirituality, I would dare to say, or to suggest. What do you guys think?
Depends on the definition of spirituality. So I don't know the Wikipedia thing about spirituality. So is it like what's spiritual? Like, is it a thing that you believe in, a power that's too enormous to imagine? Is it like?
Well,
does it come in a bottle?
Yeah, does it come in a bottle? Can you buy it? Can you buy it in this capitalist world?
Anti-dandruff shampoo.
That has a price tag. Yeah.
I would say spirituality is like kind of the driver inside of you to believe in yourself and in the things that you're doing. And when this is creative and creativity, then this is your spirit that triggers your creativity, and it can come from everywhere. So that's how I would define spirituality, like an embedded power in yourself that can trigger creativity or other things.
Maybe I wonder what Rob has to say about that.
It's a driving energy that's beyond you, that inspires you to want to create and do. So I think it's some kind of energy and force beyond you. It comes inside of you that gives you the drive to want to create. But it's different aspects of spirituality. Right. But that's more, for me, it's kind of a driving force that pushes me to want to create and gives me the thoughts. Sometimes when I create stuff, sometimes I've just sat and got an idea about writing something, and I was like, I got to get to a pen, and I just wrote the whole thing right then and there. For me, that's spirituality, something beyond me wanting me to get that message down right then and there. because other times I've got the message and didn't put it down and then got it home and forgot everything about it.
As if the message you're receiving something from yourself, but from out of yourself through yourself, in a way.
Something beyond.
Beyond.
We don't know what's above.
Exactly.
We have other planets out here that's got the same atmosphere as Earth. I mean,
we
I
don't
can go
know.
really deep on you, but
We don't know.
I'll keep it internal.
Yeah, let's keep it. I see you, man. Keep it like
go out there.
Secret. Anyway. No, but anyways, I know what he was saying. Yeah, like it's a whole universe out there that we are not aware of. Let's say like
Multiple infinitive, ever-growing numbers of universes. The whole existence. And
Oh yeah. So if I were to try
sending you wavelengths.
Yeah. Okay. No, but if I
who's driving by, looking down here and saying, "Oh, keep going."
Oh yeah. So you see there's a way like maybe there's like we are like as let's say as artists or let's say call ourselves co-creators. I mean I don't want to say only artists in a way that I put only artists as a special.
Well, I think from an emotional aspect, I think all of us are interconnected in some respect or another, and your desire and emotions translated across through your craft. You're just trying to reconnect energies from yourself to others. Or at least like I try to tap into others' feelings. You know, when I go and write something, I think about the way somebody else may have felt about that scenario. I create a situation that hopefully you can, as well as hear, see, or relate, apply to your life or your experience that you've dealt with. And I look at it from that viewpoint of thinking maybe somebody else dealt with this situation, and maybe I'm helping them by expressing this situation.
Well, they could not express themselves at that moment, maybe. And what another thing is, do you see an aspect of also healing in a way through this expression?
I think music has definitely a healing power. It's healed me, so I'm hoping that maybe something that I'll achieve within the music field may heal someone else or help them, along that journey like it's helped me.
That's already cool.
Yeah, I heard that too. A bunch of people told me, I got 2-3 kids. I met my wife at your party.
Helping the human race to multiply. That's a role. That's the way to make it.
Okay, that's a blessing. You're helpful in that area.
Your future fans. You have to grow the next generation.
I've been the last time I was in Africa, these kids came up to me. My mom told me to come see you. My pop told me to come see you. I was like, tell them we gotta have a beer the next time. We need to come on out.
That's really good.
But that's I think for me. That's really a beautiful thing because a lot of dates that I do, or I've done recently, a lot of young people come to a lot of the dates, and it's their parents that told them to come see me. And so that's cool. When you evolve, with the younger generation, you're not just stuck in your period and what you achieved. You're willing to evolve with what's happening, and I think that's really, really important. And that's part of my sustaining power in this industry is that I'm always aware of people's feelings, young and old. I want to be interactive in their feelings because that'll trigger the way I write or the way I DJ. It's a reflection of people because it's about people first for me.
Wow, amazing.
I really have to say something because I checked a quote from your video. That was like, my work is all about being aware of the facts and feelings in life, right? So I was like, okay. I was thinking of the topics and I was awareness might be the first connection with spirituality or the first hint of spirituality, because becoming aware of existence, the first thing that raises is the me, the so-called ego.
I am.
The ego without the notion of being good or bad, but just ego as I, right?
I exist.
So I exist. This awareness can potentially evolve along life, evolve, and turn into expand and embrace everything and everybody. And this word aware for me in that quote was powerful because awareness has to be spirituality, the way it looks and the way it feels. being aware is being.
And it's
And
so
being
hard to
somebody.
get there, right? Because, I mean, I'm going to bring another perspective. So the basic needs of humans need to be fulfilled and satisfied for them to be able to think about what they want to do in life, what they're going to, you know, go out and put out there, or what they're going to provide for others or for themselves, right? I mean, I lived in Turkey a long part of my life, and I know in the entire world, there are so many people that want to get to that stage where they want to think about themselves. But, you know, there are so many struggles people are having, just be basic water and food, right? And I think, like, often in developed countries, like, people sometimes, like, they get to forget some of these basic human struggles that people are going throughout the world. And I don't know, maybe you connected to some of that. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but maybe in Africa, you know, because, yeah.
Portugal, a lot of places I've been. I went into the shanty towns. The last time I was in, a couple months ago in South Africa, I went into some of the shanty towns after the gig, and like we stopped, every street we stopped at, people ran out their house and they just rushed up to take pictures. And for me, that was like a shock. I didn't realize in South Africa, house music is as big as R&B or hip hop. I did television, I did the national radio stations, but just the love from people, and they were shocked that I actually just came. And we stopped about maybe 4 times, and every time people rushed up, and sometimes we just sat and talked to them. But to me, it's important to be interactive in areas or in countries beyond just your performance, to show people that, you know, I'm not afraid. I come from the ghetto. I come from the streets. How can I be afraid of other people? How can I understand them? How can I write or express myself or tell a story in relation to something I feel that they're going through if I'm not actually right there in their environment and speaking to them and talking to them? Wow. So for me, that's really important. And I went to Mombasa, and they were saying, "Oh, you shouldn't go down there. They could rob you." I'm like, "I ain't got on nothing but some swimming trunks. They ain't gonna take them out of here." Just like, and so I went further down into this village area, and they built a bonfire, and they started chanting to me and singing these songs, and they was shocked. And I was there doing a video, so they didn't know who I was, but they just thought I was somebody. But they was like,
somebody. That's
but they sang your song.
No, but the thing is, I wasn't afraid. I didn't listen to the people, and I followed them down. Wow. And they was like, "We're so happy," and talked. They was like, "You're our American brother, and you weren't afraid of us." And it's like this fear factor that people have created a lot through media and stuff. You gauge situations, and you should be able to feel if I'll be safe or can I trust this situation, because then there was other areas that we went in, and it was like, "Don't roll down the car window, they'll snatch your hat or anything." And I was like, just automatically fear factor was built. And I've been so many places: Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Bahrain, Israel. I've been to Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and different
example
places.
for that. What you're talking about.
You know, they build up this fear factor, and I went into all of these situations in Portugal, into shanty towns. Again, went out and talked to the people and hung out with them, and they really respected that, because people have created this division, you know, and it's about us, especially as artists, to break that down. Yeah. Some places you have to gauge, I can walk into here and I'm going to walk into this situation without no fear.
Wow.
That is power. That is power, because it's sometimes
powerful,
scary or creepy or weird, or I don't know how to call it, to realize how many people really it's the bullshit, you know.
But I'm saying you gauge the situation. You can tell if it's gonna be. Wait a minute, they might rob me. But
of course, because everything. I mean, nature is wild.
Yeah. You gauge the situation.
Yeah. It doesn't mean. Of course, I think you were now like balancing, because people can say, yeah, it's like, yeah, very beautiful way to see things, but what if something really can happen? Of course it can. That's why we got intuition and, you know, sixth sense, and we are just watchful, you know. Yeah, beautiful.
But for me, I'm grateful as an artist to be able to travel like globally, constantly throughout the
is
year.
amazing.
Constantly, almost every week, I'm flying somewhere, and it's just built. I know that I'm walking into these situations with love and to give something.
Wow.
So it's I automatically have removed fear from my mind.
Wow.
And the thing is, I could be a casualty anywhere. I could walk out here and get hit by a car, anything. I cannot live my life
So
in
true.
fear. And again, I come from an urban ghetto thing. Everything I've achieved and where I'm at this present day is a total blessing, and I can never forget that, and I can never let anything negative around me confuse me or delude from that vision and that perspective of moving forward and giving from that angle.
And it's a living fact that it's working, let's say, like this in a way.
I feel
or you have some
lucky.
stories that you can
Yes,
tell us as well, but I get
I have loads of stories.
I can imagine that
But I think, you know, one exciting thing about today's show is that, okay, creativity and spirituality, we all heard those topics for the day, but, you know, we've got Ata here, who is doing something that I have personally never heard about. You guys there behind the cameras can tell us too. Gaming meets politics. That was cool. Like, when I heard that, I was like, that is something. So... And like, okay, what does spirituality has to do with politics? Wow, what if politics would be conscious spiritually? How amazing would that be? Now, Ata, you break it down for us, gamings and politics.
Yeah, so it's an interesting story because, I mean, the times I lived in Turkey, we saw some stuff that we kind of didn't like with my friends and my circles. And, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I'm always, you know, respecting anybody. But we felt that it changed our life for the worse. It reduced our freedoms, it reduced our security, and it just, it was a very tight knot. Are
we talking about which decade, if you want to share?
I'm talking about like the 2010s, like the early 2010s that were like really,
were you living in
really
Istanbul,
dark.
or?
No, I was living in Izmir, but I studied in Ankara, in the capital. But yeah, so like exactly, and we got like tight, like, you know, like it's as if you can't breathe sometimes, and it's such a hard thing to explain. But anyway, that motivated us to kind of delve into why does politics work the way it does? What is it? What is going behind the scenes that most people don't understand? And you know, all that.
And why does it feel sometimes for like citizens, for us, for everyone, like it's not on our favor anymore at some point? Rather far away from that. I mean, if I'm trying to read what you were feeling at the time, you were feeling like, okay, this is actually making me feel the opposite as I should feel as a human. Calm, free, happy, you know, expansive. So
yeah, and exactly, like so that comes back to the point of which is like a point that is not being talked about much in general, is that you want to live freely, right? You want to have those freedoms. You want to have that space to breathe and express yourself, have your basic needs met. Whenever politicians and their goals don't align with the people, then society starts breaking down. And you see that, and how you feel is very interesting, because like if you're a respectable human being that respects everybody's opinions, you cannot hate the other side, right? You can't. They're humans just like you.
That's beautiful that you mentioned.
Yeah, because they have their own view, they're humans, and they need to be respected. They're just like you, you know, they were born like you. One day they're gonna die just like anybody else, right? So we're on this thing together, and that's something we forget. We're being a lot of people are being divided, and so this game kind of like the reason why we want, I think the real reason, when I think about it philosophically, is that it affected us in such a way that we wanted to share this experience and this message and why it is the way it is with the entire world, while informing everybody, right? Having them in that seat.
Because I have to also add, I don't know your experience in Turkey, because you grew up between Turkey and Europe, or how?
Yeah, so I often travel to Germany because my father's German, but most of my life I lived in Turkey. So most of my life experience have been in Turkey, although like I have a lot of experience in Germany as well.
Exactly. So my question was, or my point was, about when you're talking about what inspired you to do this game. So my experience as someone who was born and raised in Venezuela, also Colombian, and who recognized herself as a mixed person between African descent and Native American, native peoples of America, but nowadays labeled as a Venezuelan because I was born in a territory called Venezuela, but that encompasses hundreds of cultures. For me, it's very polemical to identify myself with a nationality. So, but anywho, Venezuela and what's going on politically now. Point was that I wonder if in your environment, for example, in Turkey, right? Let's give the guys a second. They need to pick a call here.
Yeah.
I was wondering whether you felt people was actively engaged in the political discourse. Were they having conversations? Were there really, because at home, I think Turkey and Venezuela have many things that they're sharing socially and politically. And from the social side of things, I need more people to talk to when it comes to the Turkey. But in my feeling, people was not really having conversations. They were just basically clashing and competing, but not having, I mean, I would just have loved more conversation to have been there. So I wonder, what's your experience?
I mean, it is the fact that some politicians rule by dividing people, and they take the power of one part of people and use it against the other. And some politicians unite the people and try to provide for everyone as much as physically and realistically possible. And in Turkey, like, that division was really, really bad. And I think, like, a lot of people were active in politics, actually, more than I would have thought. But the resistance of certain elements was so strong in society that, you know, I mean, I was part of the Gezi Park protests in 2013. And I actually took tear gas, and I saw people's, like, this is some sad stories, but, you know, people lost limbs, eyes, and they weren't accepted at hospitals, and I've personally witnessed this. Yeah, so some very tragic stuff happened in those years, and of course after, but I don't want to delve into that. I want to delve at the reason why. And it again goes to the fact that politicians must serve like people equally and serve everybody, and their interests must be aligned with the people's happiness and their productivity and their well-being. And I think like that fact alone is why these Western democracies are somewhat working well, right? Because they're out there to make everyone happy. But in some countries, politicians don't need to serve everybody to be in power, and that's where the issue starts. If you don't have to, then you might not do it. And then the sad stories happen. And so like that, all that stuff, and of course the discourse, as you said, you know, once those aisles are divided, it's so hard to reach across. I mean, you know, we just talked about, you know, not going into a ghetto. It's the same issue. It's separating people.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is maybe another topic, we are not going to dig into it maybe, but another topic is how do you, as a human, discern? Because the media and blah blah is going to tell you amount of it, but how do you keep that awareness and that discernment like always on mode, you know, to just not eat anything, just go and live it like he did it. He just went down there and experienced his own version of things, didn't just take what he was told, you know.
It's you need to be a knowledgeable person, right? You need to understand the forces that drive everything and parts of our, you know, everything that you can at least comprehend. And what you gotta do is you gotta listen to opposing sides. You have to listen to opinions that aren't the same as yours. You have to go across to the other side and be like, what is your thought? And tell me why. Because behind every thought, there's a life experience.
You have to basically get out of yourself in a way, like see things out of your perspective, or out of your personal perspective, because maybe if you continue what you said, like every human being is just maybe part of this collective with his own perspective, from his own background, his own story, his own experience. And what you're saying basically just like our role is to get out of that perspective, get out of this autistic mode, I said, like with quotes, and try to see the world from another perspectives, and by that maybe spiritually evolve to a new level.
There is a whole life outside of the game, you know. You talk about politicians and like the system and whatever, money. People live their life, you know, outside of it, you know. You can grow your own tomatoes. You know, for real. You can grow your own
Going
tomatoes,
off-grid, right?
and you have like
Vote for Sharon.
I have
Vote
a
for
friend.
Sharon.
He have a boat in the canal. You know, he's like
Huckleberry Finn style.
He's hanging with people who live on the water. You know, they don't have the rent shit in their head. You know, or like they don't go to Lidl. I mean, I love Lidl, man. Lidl
They
is
don't
the
pay rent,
best,
they don't
you
go
know,
to Lidl
but
and they're living the
I
life
go to
off
Lidl.
grid.
It's a nice coffee machine, you know.
But to that point,
I mean,
€1.
like you said earlier that we need something about we need this system that we live in right now, and whatever, we cannot escape it. We can escape it, and we don't really need it. You know, it's a kind of a, you said, comfort zone. We're like, I don't know about we, but like people are stuck in the comfort zone. You know,
but
interesting perspective.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Something has to do with FKK, maybe.
I got to do some comment about the boat. I have to think about, but no, I didn't follow all the discussion, but I just entered at the tomato thing, but just the thing.
Take off on the tomato.
When you spoke about the boats, and she told me you mean the boats in Berlin, they pay high rent to live on the boats, no?
Oh,
I mean, because I wanted to
theory
live at one of
collapse.
the boats,
Theory
and I went
collapse.
there and I checked it, and it's super expensive.
It's holding water, the theory, Sharon.
But
That's correct, but you also have people like building, lately I see it a lot, building houses out of like shipment containers and like tires, you know, like using tires and bottles to build houses, you know. So like
Sustainable living, yeah.
People are, you know, getting born into the game and the system, so this is what they know and this is what they're used to do, you know, and this is like the comfort zone. Once you think out of the box, you know, you can escape it.
You can live in a box.
Yeah, I would live in a boat, you know. Like,
But the thing
Thinking
is that
out of the boat.
you can do it.
No, I just want to say, because I love this idea to create your own house. And you know, there is this Earthship thing in the US. But for example, for Germany, because I wanted to live in such a house in Germany, like I wanted to build my own Earthship with a friend. But actually in Germany it's still quite complicated. So even to go back to the nature, to find your thing, to go out of the system, is still really, really complicated.
But I want to add.
That's what I wanted to say, is that you can't escape the system. You can't.
You also have to serve the system, right? If you continue what is.
No, you can tweak it, and you can try to but you're still in this. As you heard, you have to pay a lot of rent. If you want to build an Earthship, you have to like go to a lot of regulations. So you're still caught in this fucked up system that you have to deal with, and you have to hack it.
Yeah, that's
hacking. I like that approach. Yeah.
it's
just the right way.
Yeah, and a point I have to make there is that people who control a lot of the power in society actually want people to think that way. They want people to get out of society because they have they have much more of a method to flex power. Because if society isn't intelligent, right, if they're not involved, then people who are smart will abuse the system and they will control the system. So be involved. That's like a key thing. Like read different opinions, but don't let the system go. That's what those people who control the system kind of want.
And don't forget, you can be the new system.
Exactly.
There doesn't have to be a system.
You are.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there can be actually, and I think that when you think of the ecosystem thing, and of the teamwork and of the new ways of doing things, decentralization, of course, comes in the game, and it's essential part of it. So just create any system if you have to.
And involvement.
That's creativity, and that requires a hell of a lot of creativity.
And change, maybe cause some change in the world.
Exactly.
As well. All right, we're gonna have now a performance from Madllyn.
Give it up.
Oh yeah.
And Suzerain.
We're going to the musical break from Madllyn.
A little break.
Yes.
to let go when you need. Not easy to control what is free. Not easy to fly when your feet are stuck in the mud or a system. Not easy to get there driven off the road. Not easy to share when you lost it all. Not easy to get out of a shark tank. Not easy. Not easy to harvest when you're starving on. Not easy to kick into an open door. Is this life what you're looking for? Not easy to be an easy lover with a beating heart. To stand on both legs with cold feet. Not easy to fall into it. Somewhere there's an open road for you and me to find our place. And somewhere there's a different path where we can travel into ours. Something like light. Falling into, falling like a leaf into. Not easy, not easy, not easy to fall into. Not easy, not easy to fall into, fall into, fall into, falling into, falling into life and falling into so easy to read you like a book. So easy to steal the diamonds in your hand. So easy to fall with or without you. But not easy to take life as it is. To take life as it is. But we will manage though. We will manage though. We will manage though. Falling into.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Give it up to Madllyn Stronger.
Strange, actually.
How do you
Not
say it?
strange.
I always
It's not my family name, actually.
So how do you call it?
Like it's the meaning
Madllyn.
strange, like
Madllyn
strange or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, real strange. Okay.
My family name is Stange, and there was a mistake once in a present that they presented me, and it came out strange. So I was like, okay, Madllyn Strange.
So that's how it came up.
That's how
it's
it
good to
came
know. You can, I don't know, can you tell something about this song in particular, or?
I don't know. It just came up in a moment when I was with my loop station, and actually I play guitar and I sing, and sometimes I don't have a band, and so I bought this loop station, and I just also it came out that I started writing songs, and because I like to create some kind of looping around me, and then I just start to think and speak what comes out. And I always, when I write something, I always actually just question myself where I am at the moment, and how I just want to understand myself at the moment. It's actually a really selfish and ego thing, but at the end, I always try to put out also a message that somebody else can understand, or that gives kind of wise thought, whatever.
Or at least share what you experience.
The jammed out creative process is the one that feels more organic to you so far?
The what?
Like the jamming out creative process feels, if I understood right, feels a bit better?
Yes.
For you? A bit more flow? Yeah. Because it's like the jamming out creative process, right? She mentioned, and then they're like sitting down and thinking and da-da-da. It's completely two ways to do things.
Yeah, it's like kind of connecting to another sphere and then trying to go there, trying to get an answer, basically, on some questions.
If you want to talk about inspiration and creativity, you mentioned something about the fact that you're creating with the loop station, or which is very nice. And we talked before about the digital part. Do you think that part of your inspiration to create or to write is also it's connected to the tools which you're using, which is the loop station in this instance?
Definitely, because I already mentioned it. I'm not a professional artist working in the music industry, because I'm an autodidact, and I didn't get the skills as becoming a musician, basically. So I was always really critical about myself and about.
But this is nothing to.
This
is nothing to do with education.
If you have anything unique to add to this whole industry, you automatically are a unique and creative individual in this industry, and that makes you professional in your field. Nobody can be you.
Yeah, but what I wanted,
to heart, man. You know, you always feel comfortable about presenting yourself. I think, from again another perspective.
Exactly.
We love this perspective.
But what I wanted to say about this machine thing is that it gave me that it's a tool for me to be a composer without having lots of
without
abilities
writing
to play.
notes, but you also play instruments.
Yeah,
right?
but I do everything with my head. It's coming up like this, and I
what
can
do you
be
think
Mozart.
other artists work like? They don't work. If
I don't know.
A jazz musician or a composer or Beethoven, you think it's not working with?
I don't know. I
think it's quite
I always
the same.
thought they are working in an analytic way. Or when I play guitar and I want to make a chord arrangements, I have to know what I have to do with my hand. Here, I don't have to know what I'm doing with my hand. I just do it with my voice.
But check it out.
But it's a tool. It's a tool, and I could not create that without this thing. Yes.
But I would say it's two tools: is the machine and is your voice. Because let's say the voice is your only instrument, and of course it's your awareness. You can call it your brain or whatever you want to call it, but it's your awareness. So, but the two tools are like your vocals and because with the vocals you're building your orchestra.
Exactly.
So in a way, those are your only two resources. And I think someone who can do a lot with less is a powerful creative. Because you can have many, and I say it because I also come partially from music education. You are given so many tools, and so many people really don't manage to do much with them. So you're doing a lot with less, and that's something. That's actually something.
It's actually something about creativity limiting, because if not, you're getting lost in a lot of possibilities.
Working
But it's not
within
maybe
a
the tool,
frame
maybe
can
it's
be
you. You are the tool eventually. Whatever you're using to create, it doesn't matter. You are the tool of creativity.
I mean, would you guys, anybody
what
here,
Robert has to say
what
about
is your
it.
experience about working with very limited resources versus working with a lot of them?
I think you need more. I mean, that's a difficult one, because if you have limited resources, in India there's a word for that called jugaad. This is when they have to fix things, or when they have to build things, so they just take the things that are there, and all the different elements, and they create something new out of that, or they use it for a cause which it wasn't made for. So I think that requires a lot of creativity to make sense of something that had a certain purpose, and you misuse it for another purpose. And so it requires you to be creative to find that other purpose. So this is something, so with few resources, you have to be super creative. With a lot of resources, you have to also be super creative in order to use them all with each other. But you can really fast get lost in that process, because there's so many things.
And creativity is not about the resources, again.
No,
Right.
but
it's not the resources. Nothing to
creativity
do with
comes
the
from the
resources.
inside, but the
Okay.
resources that you have in order to express your creativity. So these are two different things. If you have few resources, then you have to be super creative to make the best out of that. And if you have a lot of resources, you have to
be
choose the
super
right
creative.
ones that suits your creativity in order to get it out.
Maybe you have
So
to be
it's
super
both-
creative in both ways.
Exactly,
whether
you have to
a
be
lot of or
creative
less.
all the time. And regarding the awareness thing, I think awareness is the certain point that is required to trigger creativity. You can't stand at your loop station and think about the shopping list that you have to buy later on and be creative and create a song.
Actually, you could be creative.
Okay, maybe to you, dude.
It's true.
Like insane.
But then,
Sometimes
all right.
Sometimes I'm like playing, you know, like sometimes I'm like playing and I think about, you know, like electricity bills or whatever, you know.
But that's just
Well,
because you have the routine already,
No,
right?
but it's I'm on stage, you know, like I have a rhythm section behind of me, you know, like 100 people, you know, in front of me, and I'm like, yeah, Vattenfall needed next while I'm playing, you know, it's running. Sometimes it's running inside my head, and I'm in the middle of a solo, and I'm like, yeah, fuck off. I mean, like,
But that's not when that's not when you're improvising. That's just when you're playing a song that you rehearsed a lot of times already, right?
Sometimes, you know, thoughts are getting into your head, you know, and
Yeah.
you try to keep focus, you know, but that's also happening, you know. Yeah.
But maybe it's a ghost that wants to affect your improvisation, and then you should.
No,
like,
the point is
build,
like
build, build.
the improvisation, for example, it's like it's a focus that you need to keep, and all of your life, you know, you have distractions, you know, doesn't matter what, and especially, you know, the time that you're like practicing or like on stage or whatever, I don't know, like what, doesn't matter what, it's like doses, you know, small doses of focus, you know, if it's like 1, 2, 3 hours that you need to like eliminate the world outside, you know, but sometimes, you know, it's like getting there, you know, like, I mean, like, anyway.
It's about the zone, entering the zone. Good one from Sharon. Getting into the zone.
Yeah,
Because there's like a zone, a vortex. Great words.
He said that we should jam with this, like.
Yeah, we can do a jam now. I think it's time for jam. It's a jam time. It's a jam time. So Suzerain, we didn't bring it them this time. We got you. We got records. We got Madllyn.
Okay.
We got an MPC. I don't know. It's up to Robert for now. Okay, no MPC. Not today.
Maybe you record something.
Maybe.
Then I will play on top of it.
Let's see some creativity in action. Yeah? Let's go for it. Yeah. Alright. Madllyn, you're welcome to start. Creativity in action, and after we talk about the theory, let's see the praxis in real time. Let's see some Real-time improvisation from Madllyn Strange. I'm gonna pronounce it properly this time. It's a concert. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here we go. So we are here, Hypernatural, straight from Neukölln, straight to you. It's Wednesday. We got a really nice panel here today with us.
It has not gone still dark in Berlin, and it must be around what, 20,
light in
30,
Berlin,
or what
right?
time is it right now?
Oh,
Anywho, it's already late and it's not dark still, so
Exactly.
it's spring.
Yeah, it's springtime in Berlin.
Right about now, here with Berlin family. Feeling a warm, warm, warm breeze. Love amongst people. Right about now, we got a little bit of unity going on right here, right now in the we got a little bit of in the room. In the room. Love, peace, unity, harmony. Love, peace, unity, harmony. Right about now. Amongst my Berlin family. I feel amongst my people, amongst my family, feeling so free. Oh yeah, in the room. Come on, y'all. Yeah, sister, sing it.
We are.
Our sister, sing.
Playing without.
Let them feel your sister.
No rules.
brother. I'm feeling the love all around the room. I'm feeling it out there through the internet, y'all. We feeling the love right about now. Oh yeah. Can somebody feel the power? Oh yeah, the wine talking to me right about now. Oh yeah, I said in the love in the room, love going out to you.
Very much thank you, love from us at Hypernatural for everybody who's here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thanks for all the guests who came here today.
Yeah.
Thank you for Derek Home watching us, supporting us.